Federal court in the Eastern District of New York unsealed a huge 7-count, 46-page indictment yesterday against Trump fundraiser and inaugural committee chairman Tom Barrack, charging him with acting as an agent of the United Arab Emirates, as well as obstruction of justice and lying to investigators. Now, we all, of course, remember special counsel Robert Mueller was investigating Russian sabotage of the 2016 election. We heard about that for years. But over the course of his investigation, Mueller also started to look into whether lobbyists for the UAE were funneling millions of dollars to the Trump campaign. And now, with the indictment of Tom Barrack, that profoundly shady and weird relationship between Trump World and the United Arab Emirates is starting to make a little more sense. So we know that 3 months before the 2016 election even happened, Donald Trump Jr. met with an emissary for 2 wealthy Arab princes at the Trump Tower. The emissary told Trump Jr. at the time that the princes, the de facto rulers of both Saudi Arabia and the UAE, were eager to help his father win election as president. A few months later, well, Donald Trump did win. And that crown prince from the UAE, a guy by the name of Prince Mohammed bin Zayed, known as MBZ, flew to New York to meet with the president-elect. Now, as the New Yorker reports, it is customary for foreign leaders to notify the American government when they travel to the U.S., but MBZ did not do so. In fact, MBZ arrived at the meeting in the Trump Tower penthouse with an entourage of about 30 people. He was dressed in combat boots and jeans, and some of his men were armed. Then, on Inauguration Day, Donald Trump's incoming National Security Advisor, Mike Flynn, was texting with former business partners about a hugely controversial private sector plan that would reportedly be funded by the Gulf states, including UAE, to bring nuclear energy to the Middle East. In fact, Flynn was texting about this plan literally 10 minutes after Donald Trump was sworn in, as he watched on the dais, like, we've got a deal, what's going to happen? 7 days into his presidency, Donald Trump, you might remember, signed an executive order known as the Muslim ban, which, well, left out the UAE while including other Middle Eastern countries like Syria, Yemen, and Iraq. During Trump's first year in office, the deputy finance chair of the Republican National Committee, a guy named Elliot Broidy, was helping spearhead a secret campaign to influence the White House and Congress for the crown princes of Saudi Arabia and the UAE. God, that keeps popping up again and again. Broidy was later charged with conspiring to act as a foreign agent on behalf of other interests, Malaysian and Chinese government interests. Mr. Broidy was a very busy man, apparently. And on the day before Donald Trump left office, he pardoned Broidy. Now we have the indictment of Tom Barrack, who allegedly, quote, acted to aid the UAE in its dealings with the executive branch of the U.S. government, doing things like advocating for the appointment of individuals favored by the UAE in the new administration and taking steps to advance the UAE's foreign policy interests by attempting to influence United States foreign policy.